Good evening, good evening, good evening. It is Friday night, September 26th of 2025. And what a week it's been. I'm sure everybody's tired and busy and has had a busy week too, as have I. Um, our last podcast that Sean and I did together, which was Wednesday night, we had made several announcements, but something was wrong with our recording. Sean, being the dear conspiracy theorist that he is, thinks that someone was interfering with our feed. I don't know, but I've hooked up a VPN and it worked fine then. But our 36 minutes dropped to 9 minutes for Wednesday, so a lot of it was gone. And by the time we started re-recording, we were just kind of tired and lost our train of thought at that point, dealing with these technical issues. Now, this is actually being streamed to YouTube from our platform or our software Streamlabs that we've been talking about. And I've tested it tonight and it's working. I've also figured out how to do a dual screen so I can have some interaction to show you some things. There's also a chat room here, but I don't think that's something anybody's going to know about until we get these platforms better marketed. It is not live streaming to the Facebook page, either my personal one or the Disturbed Oasis Facebook page, because you have to be a member for 60 days. So right now I'm streaming straight to YouTube, but when that 60-day period's up, we have enough followers and we have enough subscribers on YouTube, but it will also stream straight to the Disturbed Oasis Facebook page so that it will no longer be on my personal page. Those delete after 30 days anyway, but we save them. So anyway, as we get our feet wet even more, jumping into the puddles, trying to get all this technology figured out and get this off the ground, I think that we are doing pretty good. So I'm going to repeat a lot of stuff that we said Wednesday because I'm not exactly sure everything that was heard and was not heard. I did not feel like going back and listening to a 9-minute video of us skipping and erasing. It was quite a frustrating night. But one of the main things we were announcing is how we're going to diversify this podcast. We're going to do Wednesday night at 7, the Disturbed Oasis regular podcast, which will be me and Sean together delivering commentary, maybe a little news if something exciting comes up, talking about national events. This week, he really wanted to talk about autism and this Tylenol mess, and I wanted to really talk about some First Amendment issues that have come up this week, which I may pursue tonight. Let's just see how it goes, because I've been playing with this damn software in Streamlabs for probably a couple hours here, and I'm already a little bit frustrated, and I've just had a long day. But anyway, so then on Thursday night, Sean is going to deliver solo podcast because he wants to focus on opinion style pieces, and then I'm going to start, well, I'm obviously starting tonight. This will be my solo on Friday night at 7. I think Sean wants to do his at 8. I'm going to do mine at 7. And then the Wednesday night will be at 7. But I want to focus on local politics, my getting to know you, man on the street thing I've been doing, other issues that come up, politics or, events. And this website I'm building is really exciting for me, and that's something I'm going to share with you now that I can get the interaction and dual screen going. Tomorrow is the Harvest Festival in South Boston, and I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be doing some live streaming. So I really hope to meet a lot of people to get you on this podcast as part of my getting to know you. That'll be my second one. The first one I did in Vernon Hill, and it was great. I loved it. I love meeting people and talking about the town and what's going on. The other thing we kind of talked about were some updates on local news, things that have kind of come and gone, as far as YMCA and things such as that. But now the upcoming election for the Board of Supervisors is something we're still hot and heavy on, and that's what I'm going to talk a lot about tonight. I'm just looking at my little notation here. And then I'm going to go over this website stuff with you. So let's start with the local Board of Supervisors meeting, election coming up. Forgive me, I'm tired. I need some more coffee, but I don't have any. As anybody knows that's been following this podcast, we have tried avidly to contact not only sitting Board of Supervisor members that are not up for election, but also sitting Board of Supervisor members who are up for election and all the challengers. We've had interviews we've posted with all the challengers with the exception of one, and that's Mr. Dixon, who is running in, oh God, the light's in my eyes. I can't see the district at the moment, but I think it's District 2 against Mr. Roller. And he's been busy again this week, but assures me that he's going to do this. So Sean and I had a conversation, and he does not want to endorse any of these candidates, but I do. I feel like we've had weeks of experience in trying to contact them or interviewing them, that it's fair enough to formulate an opinion from my perspective. Now, some people might say, well, who are you? Your opinion means nothing. This is an obscure podcast. Okay, but that's the topic. I choose it. And I want to do it because I feel like I have a decent feel on people, and some of the circumstance that has happened and some of this paperwork that I have, some of which I might share, some of which I might not, has given me enough evidence to formulate these opinions. And if not, prove me wrong or give me more information, because I'm telling you, it's like pulling chicken's teeth, some of this trying to get interaction from board members. So let me run through real quick where we are, because I've been asked many times about this. District 1, I have not spoken to. In all fairness, I think I only left one message with Mr. Riddle, and I didn't get called back. And I want to spend one more week doing a final round of trying to contact people, because early voting is in, and they told me at the voting place that it's been good turnout so far, especially with the early voting. We got a whole month or more to go, weeks in fact. So I'll probably do my endorsing next week, because I do need to move on from this at some point. We got a school board election coming up, even though I think there's only one person on that ballot, and other things to discuss and do. District 2 Roller, he's been interviewed. If you look in our videos, you'll find that. Pinnell has still not returned any messages, and I'm going to try one more week, and then I'm going to be pretty much done with that. Witt, District 4, said he doesn't do podcast or Facebook. And when asked about how constituents talk to him, he said the phone number's public, you can call him. Mr. Smart gave us an interview, even though he's not up for election. That's in our videos. If you go to Facebook page or YouTube, you'll see them. Mr. Brandon had said he was going to. He has dropped out of the race. I might try to pursue speaking with him one more time, because I feel that he could have some valuable input and maybe not feel as restrained, since he doesn't have an election coming up, so we'll see. McDowell also said there's too much going on in the county. It's a bad time, and also said that you could call if you wanted to discuss anything with him. The one that I've had the most difficulty with is Mr. Claiborne, and I have, mainly because he promised me on air that he was going to interview with us and told me to text him, and I have been leaving messages and texting to no avail multiple times. Dear Lord, please don't let me get the hiccups now, after all the time I've spent trying to get this working correctly. So I'm quite disappointed. Now, we made an announcement, when was it? Wednesday night. Some news I'd gotten from a very good source, that even though the Board of Supervisors met Monday night to put out some resumes to go over for consideration for the position of county administrator, I've gotten the information that a person for county administrator has already been considered and pretty much selected. It's just a matter of process now. Well, they've also announced, I think I read it in the Gazette Virginian, that they're going to have a second meeting, probably Monday night again, and it's to sort through, continue to reduce to get to the point of interviews. So since I had mentioned that Mr. Brade is pretty much pre-selected from my good sources, that if that's who's hired before these resume delving and interviews have been gone through, then clearly this has been set up from the beginning. And this is what comes into question of the integrity of hiring processes with the county, because then that means this is just all for show, going through other resumes. And how fair is that? Mr. Brade may be a wonderful candidate and do a great job, but how you get there is important. The integrity of how you hire someone and making it fair and having a fair playing field and not any type of nepotism or quid pro quo is important, because that speaks for the integrity of the board itself and the members and anyone involved in this process. And I think that as invested stakeholders and taxpayers, you have a right to know how this is working, because it's not right if that's what's happened. Just like there's a lot of things that's not right. Everybody's complained about this temporary hiring at an outrageous salary. And how did that come about? And Ms. Morgan, who's in that position, she wasn't at Monday night's meeting, but apparently she had to be negotiated with very hard and keep raising the money to keep her in the position. So now is she going to automatically get the finance director position if they take Mr. Brade as the county administrator? How does this work, and why aren't you discussing this with your constituents? That's what I find so frustrating. You know, you're in a position of public trust. You hold the power in your hands of what to do with our funds and executing the wishes of your constituents, but you won't even have a conversation with them. And I just think it shows poor leadership. And going into that, I also have a lot of documents of some text exchanges that have gone on between board members. And these are all things that anybody out there can get for themselves. All you have to do is write a letter, send it to the board or the FOIA officer. FOIA is FOIA, Freedom of Information Act. And this can all be public record, or you can have access to it as a member of the public by asking for it in writing. Now, I have sent some more FOIAs off myself, but they have 5 days to respond, and that hadn't happened. So now I may have to take the next step. And I do have some more to go out, because I want to have a lot more information for you in writing, documented, before I make some of the statements that I want to make in regards to some of the behind-the-scenes activities of current board members. Most of it doesn't look good, and it looks even worse because no one will communicate with me. I know that if there were issues coming out about me that someone wanted to know and I had the obligation to give them, then I would be, okay, what? If I'm doing something wrong, let me know, or let me own up to this, or here's why I did this. This was my rationale. Let me explain. But that's not happening at all. And I understand all of the frustration I'm hearing from all the constituents in all these districts about lack of communication, lack of transparency, and everything. So I'm going to give it one more week to get communication so that I can get a two sides to a story scenario going on. And if not, then I'm going to discuss in more detail, because the things I'm finding and the things I'm seeing, quite frankly, look rotten. At best, it's abuse of power. At worst, it's cronyism. And that's probably the most I'm going to say about that right now. I really appreciate all the feedback I'm getting from people out in the counties who also, it's almost like there's pieces of puzzles everywhere and somebody needs to bring those together, and that's what I want to try and do. So I will continue this quest. I've got a lot of documentation here that I do want to share, but I want to do it in the spirit of fairness. Just like when you hire somebody, you do it in the spirit of fairness. I don't want to read something out of context without giving a person to defend themselves. So I'll put that challenge out there one more time. I want to try for one more week to get in touch with some of the supervisors, some of the members, specifically the chair, Mr. Claiborne, and we'll just go from there. What else did I want to cover? I want to also stress that so many of these issues and this information, most people are so worried about keeping their job, paying the bills, taking care of your children. And then you've got all this national stuff going on. You have state stuff going on, local stuff going on. It's very difficult for them to get engaged and interact and participate in governing bodies and what's happening in the county. There's two, but I'm just going to talk about one. It's called a strategic planning committee. You may have heard of it or read about it. And they're trying to get together and do some things to see what's important to this county and where there are challenges and needs to be filled. And the Board of Supervisors are the ones that would be funding it. So they would take all of this and go to the Board of Supervisors, who would basically say yay or nay. So that's a good thing. Now, you've also got about 12, 15 committees under the Board of Supervisors, but most of them aren't active. That's another request I have sent off to get the names of all the board members, and I haven't gotten it back yet. So, not board members, I'm sorry, committee members. So we're waiting on that. I'd hope to have more information for you by now because some of these deadlines have passed, but I'm just gonna have to get pushy about it, I guess. So understanding and becoming more aware of these things is part of what I want to show you and what I'm building on this website. This is something that I've spent a lot of time on because I feel like it's really important. Because in talking to a lot of the entities in this county, let me give you an example. The Chamber of Commerce. Right now, they're leaderless. So the girls that are working there have a lot on their plate to do and handle. And when I was talking to them, we were talking about education of what all the pieces of the mechanism that works in the county. One girl told me, she said, people will call them up and fuss at them about taxes. Well, the Chamber of Commerce has absolutely nothing to do with taxes. That's part of the county government. And then you have your city government or town government. That's just another separate tax thing, because everybody taxes you. We know that. Sales tax, city tax, state tax, federal tax. So I want to try and help point you in the right place when you have a question, when you want to understand somebody better, when you want to compliment something, when you want to make a complaint. Doing it to the right person or getting the right resource is really important in being effective. So let me show you, please work this dad-blamed technology, interactive stuff. All right, so here is this website I've created, and I've mentioned it several times, and I put it in the comments. Let's go home first. This is what it looks like. You can get to it on your phone or on a desktop, friendly. However, right now, this is probably what it would look like on your phone. So some of it I wanted to have fun with. This election information, if you click that, oh God, please don't do me wrong. It looks like these aren't going to work. You bugger. These two buttons, the election information is, it shows you where the districts are, so you can look and find out what district you're in. It's got who is the supervisor of that district, or who's up for election, or who's running for that district. It's got where you vote. It's got what a ballot looks like. This is in its infancy. I'm adding so much more. And then the other one I call Local Price Watch. You see down here on the bottom left, when you click that on the website, I don't know why it's not clicking right now. It did before. But when you click on that, I'm going to track week to week the top 10 grocery items at Food Line and gas and cigarettes at the gas house, so that we can watch what happens. Does it stabilize? Does it go up? Does it go down? Because everybody talks about inflation and high prices, but for me, I'm very visual. Seeing is believing. And then I can do some cool little charts to track it. Anybody wants to contribute to that or has a better idea or something to add, please email us at disturbedoasis@gmail.com. I would love to hear ideas or input. Now, when you go to the drop-down menu, you're going to see here, that'll take you back home. I sure hope this is working on your side. Our stuff, this has got About, which just tells you what our vision is. And then we've got Privacy Policy. That's just about, cookies. You can sign up, whatever, this, that, the other. All that legal jazz you got to put on a website. Support, we have where we take donations here. That, you know, we've got a direct, what do you call it, Cash App. We got an Amazon wish list. And underneath here is a Patreon premium content, which isn't even active yet. We're working on that. Again, please remember this is in its infancy. But anyway, that's if anybody wants to support us. Media, here you can click and it goes straight to our YouTube channel. Or you can click here and it goes straight to our Facebook channel. Even though this isn't streaming to the Facebook yet, you can still click this from the website and it goes straight to it. Now, here's some of the more interesting stuff. Halifax County. I'm doing something, I'm calling it Towns. And you can see I've got, if you click Halifax, nothing will happen. But in the future, you'll be able to click it. And I'm really, really hoping as I get out here and talk to town managers and clerks and all them, that they will do like monthly or bi-monthly videos for us, updating you on what's happening in the town. Okay, so I'm excited about that. I know some of them just don't have the bandwidth of the staff to do it, but maybe we could at least have a one-pager or something. You see I've got Scottsburg, Virgilina, Halifax, South Boston, and so on. Now the other one under Halifax County is communities. And this one, I have not even started yet. Where is it? Uh-oh, did I click the wrong thing? I didn't turn my phone off. Communities. Yeah, it's going to be a slideshow, and each one of these pictures here is going to have Vernon Hill and something about it. Buffalo Junction. I didn't even know we had this many communities in town. And these are communities that usually have post office, some have fire station. The one in Vernon Hill is one I've spent a little time at, so I'm getting to know it a little better. Their big hangout is H&H grocery store, where they have events and stuff. So I really want to put each of the communities there in the county. And my God, do you know how big this damn county is? It's huge. And there's a lot of communities here. So this is going to take a lot of time. But that's what I plan on being in this place here. And again, if there's any volunteers from any of these communities that want to contribute to these pages, that would be amazing. Because I think the more we network, we get to know each other, we feature people, places, and things, the less divisive we're going to be, and the more we become a cohesive community working together, resolving problems and making progress. I know that sounds optimistic and idealistic, but I really believe that. I really do. All right, so that's what's under Halifax County, the towns and communities. Now we have government. In here, this is the database I've been working on. If you click that, this is what it's going to look like. Now, for some reason, on this thing, it's not letting me click, but on the website, it will. Here, you click this, and you'll have the Board of Supervisors agendas and minutes. This one, that's the strategic plan update. Over here is the 2019 strategic plan. Here's the school board's agenda and minutes. Why is that so fuzzy looking? I don't know. I'll have to fix it. This is all about meetings and links. If you want to know where and I'm trying to include it all, the IDA, where the live stream is. I'm trying to get a completely comprehensive Halifax County information site. So this is all the government things, and there's so much to add to it. I wish I could show you one of them. Oh, hang on, what happened there? Now, it's not going to let me click it on Streamlabs, but that's okay. Just go to the website and you'll see it. It all works, trust me, because I've been through it 100 times. Then I've got this thing called Happenings. I've got, let me show you Feed Halifax first. This is a one-pager, and see, I don't know why that's looking blurry. But if you go down, it'll show you all the food pantries in the county, how to contact them. There's closets where people can get clothes, and all these people who are doing amazing things helping everybody. This is the collective. It's called Feed Halifax, and it's, I believe, a nonprofit association that Mr. Clark has put together, Ryland. So I'm sure that they have volunteer opportunities, donation opportunities, a lot of things that can do to help people in this county, because the poverty level is not going down. It's steady and moving up, especially in underage population, and the food insecurity here is an important issue, as well as the poverty. So this is just a jumping point. I think it's great. I love it. Also under happenings, I'm so sorry. Talking too much. It's been a long day. Also under here, I've got events in the county, and you'll see it's going to be a nice interactive slideshow. So here's some Halloween stuff coming up, something called Spooky Pop-Up. I've just been grabbing these off Facebook and the web and like town sites and stuff. Harvest Weekend. Brookneal is having a festival. They're looking for vendors. South Boston's doing some kid activity thing. I need my glasses. September 27th. Oh man, that's tomorrow. It's probably in conjunction with the Harvest Festival. They're having some inflatables. Building Buddies. Oh yeah, okay. I know what that is. Face painting on Main Street. And then of course the big Harvest Festival is tomorrow. And I will be at that doing some live streaming. This is about the fairgrounds. This is something really cool coming up at Staunton Park. Fall Star Party. Here's an air show coming up in October. South Boston on Tuck Airport Road. That looked kind of cool. This is really interesting. Quarter Place Tribute at Patrick Henry's Red Hill. Hey, come back here. I think that's in October 4th. Yeah, at Patrick Henry's Red Hill on the quarter. So a lot of things. And anybody wants to contribute, all you got to do is email me a flyer at disturbed.oasis gmail.com. And I will put that up, and I'll try to keep this updated at least weekly and take old stuff out. I'm noticing it's not in chronological order. I need to do that too. So, that's the website. That's what I'm trying to offer here. And this is what I really hope to engage a lot of people and get you excited about it, because I want to put some fun stuff on it too. You know, I feel like a lot of times it's just all so serious. And we've got a lot of good resources here, and we can do better, you know. But I do think we're in a political Poo Storm, and I think that's some changes really need to be made. And I want to tell you, as a person from the outside looking all this in, as I've stepped in here and done all the research and talked to people, having had a background as a mental health professional, it's extremely dysfunctional. And that comes from the top. And this is why there's so much disconnect, and it's just a challenge. It's something that can be improved, but it's not going to be done by hiding or not talking to the public or, you know, discussing these things. And I know there's a lot of things you can't discuss with the public, but there's an awful lot you can that are not being at all. I mean, answering phone calls. How does it make you feel when you write someone and it's important? You're like, please contact me back, and you never hear from them. Or people who say they're going to call you, or oh, I'll call you right back, and they never do. And it's just not polite. It's not respectful, and it's bad practice. And quite frankly, it's unprofessional. So we have to do better. If anybody writes me on my website, I believe in the Sam Walton philosophy. I used to be in retail, was a manager at Walmart years ago, and I went to something called Walton University. And it sounds stupid, but it was actually pretty cool. It was all about people skills. Unfortunately, a lot of people learn that, but they don't practice it. But he had a rule, it was called the sundown rule, that no matter what, you would return messages by sundown the same day the person contacted you. Now, that might be unrealistic in some situations because of the volume of contact, but I mean, a 24-hour rule, a 48-hour rule, something, but not no contact at all. I was going to say, I was recently told I would hear back definitely about a decision being made about something, and I didn't, and I was so disappointed. And it made me look at the organization differently because they didn't keep their word. And your word is everything, you know. To me, it's the center of your moral compass. So anyway, that's that. All right, so what else is going on in the county? What else? Okay, oh my God, this freedom of speech thing, you guys. Oh, it's just so bad. I kind of understand why Sean thinks maybe somebody interfered with our last podcast, because it does feel that way. Now, I'll share something with you is that I lived overseas for 9 years in another country, and it was China, a communist country where they practice censorship. And it's so funny because when you try to control something, and anyone who's a micromanager or a control freak needs to learn this. The more you try to control it, the more they're going to find ways around it. That's where I learned all about VPNs and how I could still pretty much do whatever I want. I just paid for a VPN. But the way the Chinese looked at it was the censorship. They looked at the government as their father, and the father had to make the decisions on what was good for them and keep them safe. But one of the results of it was that they were so misinformed on certain topics, because they say that the reason they censor is they want to keep things like pornography away from the young kids. But the reality is they want to control how they think and what their outlook is and keep outside influences away from them so that they will obey and do what they want them to do. But part of the ones that don't use a VPN are just fine with the censorship, and there, of course, a lot of them are, because it just is what it is. It's their culture. They have the most skewed ideas about sex. They get bootleg Japanese porn, and that's how they learn about sex, because it's a real taboo topic there. And I'm not saying that you should get sex education on the internet, but what I'm saying, though, is that when you try to hide something or censor it or pretend it's not there, I think it builds more of a problem, like raising kids completely cloistered that know nothing about the outside world, and then they become adults and go crazy. And that's not always the case. I'm just saying, kind of generally speaking. Man, I kind of miss having the chat window here, but that'll pick up on this particular thing. So what's happening in this country is that lean toward censorship. Somebody doesn't like what you say, and because they're in power, they can try to squelch your opinion or stop your show or whatever. And of course, I'm talking about Jimmy Kimmel and what happened with that. But as of today, all the ones, Disney gave the show back, and as of today, the ABC affiliates have also given it back. And I'm hoping that that is because they understand the import of the First Amendment. And something Kimmel said in the aftermath of this that I really liked, and I thought he handled the comeback very well, is that he's especially grateful for the people that don't agree with him or don't like his comedy or don't believe the things he believes, but still supports his right to say it. Kind of like here, if you don't like what I say, okay, that's fine, but I still have the right to say it. As long as, of course, I'm not yelling fire in a crowded movie theater or doing anything that's dangerous or harmful. And again, that should really come back to a lot of respect. I don't want to give a platform to anybody that's going to not stick with factual information, but if somebody wants to believe the earth is flat, well, that's what they want to believe. But as someone said in one of our interviews, I'm not going to discuss it because to me, it's zero factual. So I'm very pleased that the show got to come back on the air. We're already in a gray area about a lot of our rights. And this goes back to talking about things being fair, at the top of this, I was talking about. We should all have a sense of fairness, If you and I are both speeding down the road and we both get pulled over, then we should both either get the ticket or not get the ticket. Not because of the color of one's skin or because of who you know or because you're related to the policeman's family. That's something that's very imbalanced in our society, and I think we need to work on balancing it. And I thought we were on a good track until here lately, but now things are just skewed again. But protecting the First Amendment is important. And if any of you are old enough to remember Lenny Bruce, he was a comedian back in the 50s. They arrested him for using foul language. Of course, since then, we have evolved so much. One of my favorite comedians was George Carlin. He was great. He was just great. He was so on it, hit the nail on the head with so many issues and just so funny. I don't think there's many that are out there like that. Ricky Gervais is pretty fun. If any of you are familiar with him, he's a British comedian, but he doesn't really talk about American politics. So, anyway, that was kind of all I'd wanted to talk about. It's really weird not bouncing off another person or having the chat window, but that'll be changing in the future. But I did get to go over some things and talk about the website and how you can become interactive and how your community, your issues, your opinions can be a part of what I'm trying to build here and what Sean and I are trying to do. Outreach, education, activism is something that was so important to us. That's why we started this podcast. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up for the night because I'm really tired, and next time I'll be a little more refreshed. And I'll see you tomorrow at Harvest Fest. And other than that, I do think the next thing on our agenda, unless something comes up, is our usual Wednesday night podcast. I do have some more different people aside from politics lined up for interviews, and I may be able to do one of those next week. So, thank you for your support.